Welcome to Stoic Vibe. Are you constantly surrounded by people whose words feel like poison arrows, draining your peace before the day has even begun? If you catch yourself nodding right now, settle in, because this is part one of our 4-step Stoic masterplan for avoiding, or at least disarming, the toxic forces in your life. Picture your daily timeline like a clean parchment at dawn. By mid-morning, blotches appear, a colleague's sarcastic jab, a friend's veiled criticism, a family member's endless complaints. Each blot spreads unless we draw boundaries of ink around it. But before we can erect those boundaries, we need a Stoic definition of toxic. Seneca didn't have social media trolls, yet he understood corrosive influence. Anything that nudges the mind away from virtue, wisdom, justice, courage, self-control, acts as a toxin. A person could speak softly and still be harmful if their softness smuggles envy or sloth into your thoughts. Conversely, someone blunt might be a tonic if their bluntness sharpens your reason. So toxicity isn't volume, it's deviation from virtue. To detect that deviation, begin a nightly logismos, a reasoning review. Set a 3-minute sand timer, yes, an actual hourglass if you can. Its tactile presence turns reflection into ritual. Rewind your day scene by scene. Where did your pulse quicken negatively? Who tilted you toward gossip, anger, self-pity? Note these triggers in a small ledger. Stoics loved ledgers. They treated emotions like debits and credits in the grand accounting of character. Over a week, patterns surface. Maybe that harmless lunch buddy plants seeds of cynicism every time you meet. Awareness is the first fortification stone. Morning brings the second stone, premeditatio malorum, the rehearsal of difficulty. As you sip coffee, visualize the top 2 recurring triggers you logged. Imagine them unfolding exactly as they usually do: the scoff, the sigh, the jab. Now slow the reel right before your usual reaction. In that silent freeze frame, insert a pre-chosen mantra: I control my judgment. Breathe in 4 beats, hold 2, breathe out 6. See yourself responding with measured calm or strategic silence. This mental script preloads an alternative pathway so, in battle, your mind has a map other than retreat or retaliation. But mental prep alone won't drain the venom if you willingly sip from the same cup. Enter the Stoic practice of value hierarchy. Write your top 3 virtues on a card. Say, clarity, courage, kindness. Place it where your phone would tempt doom scrolling. Each time a toxic invitation appears, a ranting group chat, a clickbait headline, ask, will engaging serve these virtues? If not, decline. Virtues become your North Star. Toxicity thrives only when you wander off course. Finally, anchor all this with a physiological tool. Modern neuroscience validates what ancient Stoics intuited. Lengthening the exhale activates the parasympathetic rest and digest system. Practice a simple protocol right now. Inhale through the nose, expanding diaphragm, for 4, hold 2, exhale through pursed lips for 8. Repeat thrice. This breath is your portable shield. Deploy it the moment a toxic cloud approaches. The body signals safety to the brain, and reactive circuits dampen. Before we wrap part 1, set 2 actionable tasks. First, buy or craft that sand timer and start your nightly ledger tonight. Second, design your morning visualization. Choose 1 mantra, 1 breath cycle, 1 recurring trigger. Tomorrow, test the script in live conditions. Part 2 will build structural boundaries around your time and attention, so your newfound clarity has room to breathe. You've begun mapping your triggers and rehearsing calm responses. Now we convert insight into architecture by reshaping the very terrain on which toxic encounters occur. Think of your daily schedule as a walled city and each appointment, message, or call as a gate. The Stoic task is simple. Decide which gates remain open, which narrow to a slit, and which close altogether, without fanfare or drama. Start by opening your calendar and color-coding the hours you control most easily. Early mornings, lunch breaks, evenings. Choose 1 contiguous block, minimum 60 minutes, and designate it virtue time. During this hour, no outside requests cross the gate. Phone on airplane mode, email tabs closed. Use the slot for journaling, exercise, reading philosophy, anything that nourishes your resilience. Announce this boundary proactively. I'm offline from 7-8 a.m. for focused work. Framing it as self-care rather than rejection disarms potential offense. Next, conduct a time contact audit for the past 7 days. Scroll through call logs, chats, and meetings, and tally minutes spent with each recurrent energy drainer identified in Part 1. Many are shocked to discover a single complainer consumes 3 hours weekly, the equivalent of nearly 7 full workdays per year. Decide on a reduction target. Cut that figure by at least 20% this week. Practical moves include declining optional meetings, moving conversation to concise email threads, or batching unavoidable discussions into a single, time-boxed slot. Context matters as much as quantity. If private settings breed toxicity, migrate interaction into public arenas where social norms encourage civility. A hostile coworker often softens in group chats. A relative's criticism evaporates when others are present. Similarly, written communication slows the emotional tempo, forcing both parties to engage the rational brain. Offer, could you put your thoughts in an email? I want to give them proper attention. You've shifted the battlefield from impulsive skirmish to deliberative counsel. Even with reduced frequency, encounters will occur. Prepare neutral exit lines, short, polite statements that end conversations before toxicity proliferates. I'm not in a space to discuss this right now. Let's revisit when we're both clearer. I hear you. I need to think it over. Delivery is key. Steady tone, relaxed shoulders, soft gaze. The words set the boundary. The calm body language cements it. A common fear emerges. Will setting these limits damage relationships? Stoic ethics remind us friendship thrives on mutual growth, not mutual drain. By reducing reactive engagements, you gift others a mirror. They see their tactics fail and often adjust. Should someone take offense despite your courtesy, remember Marcus Aurelius's axiom: if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Your responsibility ends with right action and truthful speech. Their feelings, though regrettable, lie outside your command. Embed review into the system with a weekly boundary audit every Sunday night. Open your journal and list 3 moments when your limits held, and note resulting peace or productivity. Then list 1 moment they failed. Perhaps fatigue eroded resolve, or you lacked a scripted exit. Without self-condemnation, design a micro-adjustment for the coming week, a shorter meeting invite, a clearer announcement, a deeper breath before speaking. Over months, this iterative loop forges boundaries as natural as breathing. For chronic violators, those who ignore polite requests, implement a consequence ladder. 1. State the boundary once more, calmly. 2. If ignored, reduce availability, slower replies, shorter interaction windows. 3. Move to documented channels only, email, project boards. 4. Where possible, route future contact through a mediator or supervisor. Escalation remains courteous yet firm, emphasizing process, not punishment. Most people recalibrate by step 2. The few who persist reveal themselves unmistakably as hazards warranting maximal distance. Throughout, maintain stoic interior dialogue. When anxiety about another's reaction arises, ask Epictetus's famous filter, is it in my control? Their approval isn't, your virtue is. Center on the latter. Reinforce composure with a 4-6 breath cycle learned in Part 1, grounding the nervous system each time you announce or enforce a limit. Imagine your life as a harbor. Vessels of all kinds approach, some laden with treasures, others leaking oil. Your boundaries are seawalls and customs protocols deciding who docks, who anchors offshore, who's turned away. See yourself standing at the helm, clipboard in hand, waves calm beneath a clear sky. Authority without aggression, firmness tempered by courtesy. Action items before Part 3. 1. Schedule your daily virtue time and defend it 3 consecutive days. 2. Cut weekly contact with 1 high-impact hazard by 20%. 3. Test at least 1 neutral exit line in a live scenario and journal the outcome. You've tightened your schedule, defended your virtue time, and wielded neutral exit lines, yet some toxic encounters remain unavoidable. Perhaps a teammate assigned to your project or a family member living under the same roof. The Stoic answer is neither surrender nor sabotage. It's alchemy, converting poisonous contact into fuel for inner growth. Today we refine the art of proximity resilience, maintaining composure while toxicity sits 1 desk or 1 dinner plate away. First, adopt the mindset of a physician observing symptoms rather than a defendant on trial. Marcus Aurelius wrote, when you meet someone, ask yourself, what opinions does this person hold? Opinions produce behavior. Recognizing this shifts focus from personal insult to diagnostic curiosity. Suppose a colleague snaps, "Your presentation was pointless." Instead of bristling, label, "This is abrupt criticism, likely masking insecurity or stress." The moment you translate attack into data, you step outside the emotional blast radius. To make this labeling reflexive, employ a practice I call Stoic Color Coding. Choose 3 discrete mental colors, say, red for aggression, yellow for manipulation, blue for blame. During conversations, silently tag toxic statements with their color. "You never listen," red. "If you cared about the team, you'd work late," yellow. The palette approach externalizes the behavior, turning jabs into neutral signals on a dashboard. Over time, your brain spends less energy reacting and more energy observing. Next, switch from a performance stance to a training stance. Ancient philosophers compared life to a wrestling gymnasium where obstacles become exercise apparatus. Each toxic comment becomes a weight you may lift to strengthen patience, clarity, or courage. Visualize wearing a weighted vest. Every sarcastic remark adds a plate. Your goal isn't to drop the vest, but to walk steadily despite it, demonstrating growing capacity. This reframing refracts irritation into measurable progress. Journal each evening, tolerated 3 interruptions without sarcasm, added 3 kilos to my patience barbell. But resilience doesn't require passive endurance. It invites Socratic redirection. When someone fires a sweeping accusation, "You're always late," reply with a calm, genuine question. "Can you recall specific instances so I can understand?" Socratic questions force the accuser toward facts and often expose exaggeration. Even if they cite examples, the tone shifts from personal assault to collaborative problem-solving. The key is sincerity, not sarcasm. Your curiosity should sound like a scientist seeking data, not a lawyer cross-examining a witness. Combine curiosity with the disarming agreement technique. Seneca advised, "We should accept truth even from an enemy." If a toxic person highlights a real flaw, acknowledge it. "You're right, I did miss Tuesday's deadline." Owning truth punctures their momentum, leaving no material for further attack. Immediately pivot to solution. "I've rearranged my workflow. Here's the new timeline." They aimed to provoke guilt. You transformed it into constructive action. Meanwhile, safeguard physiology. Shared spaces amplify stress, so deploy anchoring rituals. Keep a discrete object, a smooth stone, a bracelet, within reach. Each time tension spikes, touch the anchor and execute one slow inhale, extended exhale. The tactile cue marries body and mind, reminding both that composure is a deliberate choice, not a situational privilege. Occasionally, proximity escalates beyond verbal jabs to toxic atmospherics, constant negativity, rumor mills, victim narratives. In such fog, clarity emerges through values broadcasting. Begin meetings or conversations by voicing guiding principles. Let's aim for constructive feedback focused on solutions. Stated values act like lighthouse beams. Even if others ignore them, you've marked your coordinates. Documenting these principles, minutes, group emails, creates accountability trails that neutral observers appreciate and future conflicts reference. If atmospherics persist, implement a micro-buffer zone. Physically, this could be noise-canceling headphones playing focus music during open office hours or choosing a seat at family gatherings that offers visual escape, a window, bookshelf, outdoor view. Psychologically, buffer with intentional tasks. Bring handwritten notes to meetings so your eyes drop to paper, not hostile faces. Small spatial tweaks dilute exposure without dramatic withdrawal. An advanced tactic is compassionate imaging. Close your eyes and picture the toxic person as a 5-year-old version of themselves, bewildered and craving approval. This isn't to excuse bad behavior, but to remind you that beneath adult hostility lies unmet need or past wound. Compassion depersonalizes attacks and curbs retaliatory impulses, keeping your conscience clean. Throughout the day, track victories in what I call a serenity ledger. Every time you remain calm, write a tally mark or emoji in a notebook or notes app. At day's end, count them. The visual accumulation converts invisible micro-triumphs into tangible evidence. Growth feels gratifying, which reinforces the practice through intrinsic reward rather than forced discipline. Before closing part 3, anticipate worst-case flare UPS. Draft a contingency script for a scenario where toxicity peaks. Yelling, public shaming, meltdown. Plan 3 steps. 1. Center with breath. 2. State a boundary. I'm willing to discuss when we're calm. 3. Exit politely to cool down space. Rehearse this in imagination twice. Mental reps prepare neural circuits for real-world execution. You've mapped triggers, erected time gates, and converted unavoidable friction into strength training. Now we turn from containment to cultivation, creating conditions so rich in virtue that toxic influences wither for lack of oxygen. Think of this final stage as planting a Stoic garden, where you direct sunlight and water, wholesome plants thrive, shadows and neglect starve the weeds. Begin with relationship curation. Review your energy sustainers list from Part 1. Identify 3 individuals whose presence elevates your clarity, courage, or kindness. Schedule intentional time with each: coffee, study session, even a 10-minute voice message exchange. Seneca advised seeking those who may improve us. By increasing positive contact hours, you naturally dilute toxic exposure. Attention is a finite currency, and you're redirecting spending toward profitable assets. Next, build a community of practice around Stoic principles. This could be a weekly virtual reading group discussing meditations, a Discord channel sharing daily reflections, or simply following creators who promote rational discourse. Public commitment sharpens private resolve. Knowing you'll discuss how you applied virtue today nudges choices toward integrity. Moreover, community offers perspective. When someone recounts navigating toxicity, you glean tactics without bearing the bruises yourself. Layer your environment with values cues. Place printed quotations where eyes linger: desk, phone case, bathroom mirror. Rotate them monthly to prevent habituation. Example: the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury, Marcus Aurelius. These micro-reminders prime the subconscious, so when a toxic spark flickers, your mind recalls the governing value before old habits seize control. Complement cues with gratitude anchoring. Each evening, list one moment when someone exhibited the opposite of toxicity: patience, generosity, honest feedback. Gratitude widens attention, making you a detective for virtue rather than a guard against vice. Neuropsychologists note that what we repeatedly recognize, we reinforce neurologically. A brain trained on goodwill becomes less reactive to malice. To keep momentum, institute an annual relationship review. On your birthday or New Year's Day, rate each recurring contact on 2 axes: virtue support, 1 to 5, and toxicity risk, 1 to 5. Aim to increase overall virtue support average by deliberate action, deepening bonds, seeking mentors, even joining new clubs. Simultaneously, strategize to lower toxicity risk average with further distancing or improved coping skills. This transforms social life into a living, evolving project plan. Now address digital gardens. Social feeds can be botanical marvels or garbage dumps depending on curation. Conduct a 30-minute purge. Unfollow accounts that incite outrage or envy. Subscribe to channels that teach, inspire, or amuse without derision. Install a browser extension limiting time on platforms where flame wars flourish. Remember, algorithms intoxicate by design. Opting out is not weakness but wisdom. Moving outward, contemplate physical space sovereignty. Arrange work or home areas to radiate calm: uncluttered desk, natural light, a plant symbolizing growth. Introduce a gentle soundscape, classical playlists, white noise fountains, that masks nearby outbursts. Environmental psychology shows orderly surroundings lower cortisol, making you less susceptible to contagion from nearby negativity. For advanced cultivation, practice negative visualization gratitude. Once a week, imagine losing access to your supportive circle or peaceful workspace. Picture life amid relentless toxicity with no refuge. Let discomfort bloom, then open your eyes to present blessings. This stoic contrast sharpens appreciation and redoubles commitment to nurture what you have. Occasionally, you'll still encounter toxicity. You're human among humans. Here the garden metaphor provides final guidance. Prune decisively, fertilize generously. If a once supportive connection turns chronically corrosive, address it candidly. Our conversations feel heavy lately. Is something up? If negativity persists, reduce contact. Conversely, when someone exhibits budding virtue, acknowledge it instantly. Your feedback today was constructive. Thank you. Positive reinforcement accelerates desirable growth. Embed all these layers in a Stoic life operating system, a simple weekly checklist. A virtue time protected, positive encounters scheduled, A gratitude entries logged, a digital feed pruned, physical space tidy, a boundary wins and slips reviewed. Tick each item Sunday night. Consistency, not intensity, transforms landscapes. Think rainfall, not flood. As we conclude this series, remember the ultimate Stoic premise. External events, including people, are raw materials. Your prohairesis, the faculty of choice, molds those materials into tranquility or turmoil. By clarifying toxicity, erecting compassionate boundaries, training resilience in proximity, and cultivating nourishing environments, you shift from reactive survival to proactive stewardship of your inner state. Carry forward 3 enduring mantras. 1. I govern what I let inside. 2. Every toxic moment is a training rep. 3. Virtue magnetizes virtue. Recite them when doubts creep in or old patterns beckon. If this journey helped you reclaim mental sovereignty, share these episodes, comment your biggest takeaway, and stay tuned to Stoic Vibe for deeper dives into mastering the art of living. Meanwhile, step into your day like a seasoned gardener, secateur in one hand, watering can in the other, and watch as toxic weeds reseed beneath the flourishing canopy of your cultivated character.